last video we did a lot of preparation for being able to equip our gear so that we can see it on the wizard. In this video we are going to use everything we prepared to show the actual gear. And the first thing we have to do is to open up our char button script, because in here we need to do something when we equip a piece of armor. And I think we have a function right there called equip armor, and in here we have to do something. We have to make sure that if we have a gear socket, then we are going to populate that gear socket with an animation. In that case, it's because some of the gears, some of the items doesn't have animations. For example, our gloves, we can't see them visually based on the sprites that I've created. So we will have to avoid that gear socket, for example. So we will go to the top, and then we are going to create a new private gear socket called gear socket. And this one can be null at some point, and for example our gloves is null, so it doesn't have a gear socket because there are no animations to show or no animation to swap out. So we say that, or we're going to use that gear socket. So the first thing we have to do is to check if the gear socket is null, or isn't null for that matter, I mean. So that's the first check, because there's no reason to continue if that gear socket is null. And we also need to check that the equipped armor dot my animation clips, let's see here, animation clips isn't null. So what is this check? Let's just rename it to correct. Let's write my animation clips right there. So what is this check? Well, we need to make sure that the armor has some animation clips, and this check makes sure that if we have a pair of shoulders with animations, then we use that. If we have a pair of shoulders without animations, well, then we just do the check here. So we can have different armor of the same type with and without animations. In some cases we might not need animations, for example. And what do we do then? Then we say gear socket dot equip. What are we going to equip? Our equipped armor dot animation clips. So we already did this a long time ago. We have some armor here, we are equipping it, everything is equipped right here. Then we take it and we feed it to the gear socket right there. We have a dequip function. It's basically the same. Let's just copy this code here, go down to dequip, paste it there, and in dequip we are going to say gear socket dot dequip. It's very important that we set the equipped armor to null after we've done that, because we're checking the equipped armor here if it has some clips. So we need to do that down here. If we do it before, then it's null, and we're going to get, like always, it's going to be null every time, so it's never going to run this code. So now we need to assign the gear sockets. If we open up our, let's see here, character panel, now you'll see that they all have a, let's see here, if it was saved, maybe I forgot to save. Now there it is. Just need to update. We have a gear socket on each and all of these buttons here. They need to be assigned. So let's see, where are they? On the player, yeah. Then we have all the socket. So the head needs to have a head socket right there. Shoulders needs to have the shoulder socket. Chest needs to have the chest socket. And then we have hands, legs and feet. Hands doesn't have anything, but the legs need to have the leg socket. Feet need to have the feet socket. And then we have the weapons, it's only the main hand. So the main hand needs to be associated with the main hand socket right there. So now they all have, all the gear that we can swap out is associated with one of the sockets we can use to show some gear on the player. So let's try to run this and see what happens. It's going to look weird now because we haven't adjusted the layers and everything. But let's see what happens if we run it. Press H, get some armor. I take on the helmet, it's behind his head. Take on chest, it's behind there. There's something in the foreground, right? As you can see. So they're actually equipping, but it looks very weird. And when I walk around, there's one thing right here in the front. And as you can see, the animations doesn't switch. So the thing that was all the way in the front, that was actually the boots, I think. So the boots is the top layer. So what do we do to fix it? You can right away you can see there are more layers of the same character, because these sockets here, as you can see, they have, let's see if we can do it probably here. They are actually all of them are actually based on the same animation, as you can see. So we have lots of wizards now. They're just on top of each other, and that's because they're all riding the original controller. So if I play, you'll see that, oh, there's still someone on top here. Let's see if we can move that one. Let's move it out there. The original one is moving around and changing direction. The others are just standing in idle. And when I would equip something, whatever socket it's assigned to will take that form. So this one will turn into pants. This one will turn into helmet, something like boots, chest, I don't know, and so on. We need to fix that. We can fix that by selecting all the sockets, selecting the color, and taking down the alpha all the way down. So now they're invisible as long as they're not, they don't have any gear equipped. So we can already see, if we play the game now, we don't have that extra layer of things, and he can walk around without any problems. He doesn't have extra layers on him. Let's see, I think there was a null reference exception before. I'm not sure what it was. There it was. Let's figure out why that is. Let's see here. I think it was the, what was it? Was it pants? Yeah, okay. So the pants are giving us a null reference exception right here. Wizard wall right. So maybe we're missing an animation or something on the pants. Maybe I am. You might not be. You might have created them correctly. Yeah, and as we can see on my pants, there are only 11 animations. So there's missing one walk here. Let's just set this back and log it. And then I am going to find the animation. Sorry about this. I know you don't have that error. So I guess it was only me who did that. Oops. Yeah, that's nice. That's exactly what I want to do. Let's take all of them for once, right? Speed 12. There we go. So now they're all there. And now when I equip the pants, I should avoid that null reference. I apologize for that. There we go. Okay, so that's one thing. But now you can see the pants are not following the animation. They're not going the right way, and that goes for all the armor. We can equip the armor. However, he's just walking around without changing animation. So why is that? Well, remember that we have some different functions that make sure that our player can actually change direction and do all those things. And our gear socket needs to do the same. It needs to activate the correct layer at least. And it needs to set the float value and everything of X and Y. So where do we have that? We have it in the character somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. Character panel. Character related. Where is it? I'm so blind. There it is. So let's see if we can find it. Where is it? There. Right here. This code here is setting the X and Y values on the animator to make sure that the X he goes in the right direction. So we can actually take this code, copy it, go back to gear socket, make a new function, and call it set X and Y. And paste there. So this doesn't work like that. We need to make float X and float Y and use those two, X and Y, right here. Okay. So now we're setting the direction at least. So that's one thing. But we also need to activate the right layer, of course, but the direction is right. But we're not calling this. So where do we need to call this? Well, we actually need to call it from what's it called, in the socket. I mean in the handle layer, sorry. So on the player, let's see if we can find it there. We have a function for handling the layers. Let's see where it is. Maybe I should just search for it. There's so much here now. Blocks, double tag here. there it is. Let's go to definition. It's on character though. This one is up in the character, but we need to be able to override this, I think, because all this functionality is only usable on the character level. We need to specify some functionality that is only going to be used on the player, because our skeletons, for example, doesn't need to have a gear on. We don't need to equip gear on them. Maybe you want that in your game. I don't want that, so I'm going to specify this. So I'm going to make this virtual like that, just to avoid changing anything we already created. This works perfectly, so I don't want to change that. I don't want to ruin the functionality we already have. So I'm going to expand it instead and go to my player, and I'm going to make a function called public override handle layers, and I'm just going to call the base functionality because it's going to call everything here that already works. It's fine, it's going to run the same. And then I'm going to change if is moving. So if I'm moving, then I would like to make sure that the X and Y direction is set on the gear. So for each gear socket in, it's called G, in our gear, let's see. So the player doesn't have reference to all this, does he? No. So the player needs a reference to all the gear sockets. So we need to make a private gear socket array called gear sockets, like that. Or wait a minute, don't our characters have that already? Maybe. Or am I missing something? Oh wait, of course our character wouldn't have that, so we need to make it here. So it's correct what I'm doing here. So we'll make a serialized field. Sorry about the mistake there. So we're going to serialize these gear sockets, and when we have all those gear sockets, we need to set them up in the inspector, of course. But down here we need to say gear socket G in gear sockets. So we're going to run through all our gear sockets, and we are going to set the X and Y on it based on the direction, the X direction, that Y. So we already calculated that earlier, the direction of the player. So now we are setting the direction correct on every single gear item. And because of that, we're doing right here, he should change the direction of the gear now. But our player doesn't have the reference right now. Let's let it update for a while, please. There we go. So it needs a reference to all the gear sockets. Well, we can just lock this one in place and select all the sockets and drag them onto here. So we have reference to all the sockets on the player. So when we have that, this code here for running through, if the player is moving, we run through all the gear sockets and set the X and Y direction on them so that they will also be changed, change their animation based on that. Okay, let's see how it works now. Let's just try with the pants. We have the pants on, and wow, as you can see, it actually changes direction. Okay, so that's one thing. The direction is correct now. As you see, it's not animated yet. It's not animated correctly yet, but as you can see, I can take all my gear on like that, and as you can see, I can change the direction. But it's idling in different directions. That's what the problem is, right? So all the gear works, it's the right direction, but it's not just idling. So we need to change the layers as well. Before we do that, I would also like to change the sort order. As you can see right here, when we equipped the gear, it looks weird, right? I'm taking on my chest, and then I put the pants on. The pants are actually on top of the chest. I don't want that. I would like to have the chest to be on top of the pants somehow. Somewhere. That's the chest, right? That one is 205 or something. Nope. 204. Okay, I'm not going to experiment, sorry. So basically, we need to change these correctly. So let's try to do that. I have written down some numbers that I was using to make this work. So the head socket right there. Oh, that's why it didn't work, because I had locked this one, of course. I changed the players. That makes sense. Wow, I'm too tired right now apparently. Let's try one more time, then I can demonstrate actually. So the chest is on top here, and now I'm not changing the players thing. I think it also thought it was weird that a whole character would get there when I changed this. But anyway, the chest, if I put it in 200, what is it, 5 or something, yeah, then it's on top of the pants. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure the chest is on top of the pants, of course, and so on. All the things needs to be in order. Head socket needs to be 201. The chest socket needs to be 202, or whatever. Now I'm using 200. If you're using 100 instead, then 101, 102. I think I just put it that high to make sure it's on top of everything, but yeah, we will also have to fix the general value of this at some point, because 200 seems very high. I can't remember why we did that actually. Shoulder socket 24. The feet socket, it's going to be 201. It's already there. Main hand is going to be 205. There we go. Okay. So now they're all set. So let's try to equip stuff and see how it works. Shoulders, pants, chest on top, boots below, weapon there. Okay. And the helmet, of course, on top of the wizard. So as you can see, this staff right now is behind his shoulders, or in front of the shoulders. We need to make some functionality so it goes in front of them instead. There's no reason for it to be behind here and in front of the hand when he turns this way. But again, he's walking, the gear is not animated. Why is that? Well, just as we set up the set X and Y, we also have to activate the layers. So we need to go in here and make a public function called activate layer, and it takes in a string. Well, activate layer is pretty simple. We already have the functionality somewhere. Let's see here. There we have it. Let's go here and just copy this one. We have it in character. Copy paste activate layer to the gear socket. Actually, let's just do like that. It's exactly the same functionality. Nothing needs to change here. It's the same. We need to call that function exactly the same way as we called set X and Y. And we can do that from the activate layer function, I think, the same way as we did in with this function. So we need to go to the player, and then we need to get the one called activate layers. And let's see, it's not virtual right now, nope. So we need to go to character, say public virtual, so that we can override it, and go to player and say public override, a ping public, activate layer. It calls the base, that's fine, and then we need to do it for each. Wow, we need to do it for all of them, right? So for each gear socket, G in gear sockets. So for each of these, we need to activate the right layer. And then we save. So now we should be activating the walk layer and the attack layer. Let's try to save this and run it. So pants, chest, helmet, and whatever on. And now the right layer is activated, as you can see right here. So he's walking when he's walking, and he's attacking when idling when he should that. And let's see, attack should also just work as fine. Okay, there's something wrong. Do you see that? So the wizard is moving, but the attack is not working for these. Let's see, that was left. Let's see if the others are working. Nope. Okay, so we need to fix the attack. Okay, so the problem is the fact that we never set the condition attack to true on the other animations, as you can see right here. If we equip our chest, for example, I select my skeleton, and then I will select the chest socket right there. See that when I start attacking, oops, I need to put a spell in the bar before I can attack. When I start attacking, the layer becomes active. You can see the walk layer is active when I'm walking, and the attack layer is active when I'm attacking. However, it's never going from wait to attack. And that's because we are never setting this condition right here called attack. So we of course need to do that as well. And we can do that in the player somewhere there. And we need to find where we're attacking. Stop attack is there. We have something called attack somewhere. Cast spell there, attack. So basically when we're doing this, set the bool to attack. We can make it for each. And go through the gear sockets. And then we simply take g dot set bool. Oops, we can just do like this actually. G dot my animated set bool attack is attacking. Save that. And then we need to copy this for each. And we actually need to go to the stop attack function wherever it is, right there. And inside stop attack, we will also have to stop all the attacks. So we can just, where should we do it? Here. Use this attacking. It's the same code actually, so we can just do like that. So now we can stop attack and start attacking. Let's try to run it. Come on, there we go. Equip some gear. Let's just equip all of it and maximize on play. And let's see it in action. Oh, I don't have a boot there. And now the attack works. However, I failed when I created my animations. I didn't uncheck the loop, so you need to make sure that all your attack animations aren't looping. And I bet you already did that, but apparently I forgot it. So now I'm trying to talk here and think at the same time. I forgot that attack is here. So I need to select every single attack animation like that and uncheck the loop. Can I just write? Can I just do like this? I think I can say T animation, no, and then attack. Yeah, there we go. So that's all the attacks, and I can't do it from multiple at the time. Oh wow! So I will have to run through all of them just like this, one by one, to uncheck all these loop times. Because if we don't uncheck the loop times, then the animation of course is going to loop, and then it's going to look weird because the wizard is not looping and the gear is looping. So yeah, the gear is going to move away from the wizard, which doesn't make sense at all. So I'm almost there. Maybe you already skipped all this, and I'm doing all this just to be able to check if it works. And yeah, there we go. So now they're all unchecked. Let's try. We equip all like some gear here, and then I need to put in a spell real quick. There we go. And now it works. So there you have it. Now we have animations for all our gear in all directions and all types. There are some few small fixes we need to do. You can see the staff here, for example, it goes behind the shoulders instead of in front of it right here. It needs to go on the other side and on the other side of the hand. But I am going to leave that for the next video. I'm going to make a short video for those small fixes. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for watching my video. Please remember that InScope Studios is a community founded page, so please consider clicking the support link on the screen to see how you can support me and get something back in return.